A showdown on air. President Ibrahim Traoré vs. Cash Patel. Was a morning in May 2025 when Ibrahim Traoré received a call that would shake the global stage. On the other end was a visibly tense Fox News producer. President Traoré, Cash Patel wants to debate you live on Tucker Carlson tonight. He says he can prove that Africa doesn't need American aid. Ibrahim, seated in his office at the presidential palace in Ouagadougou, paused. Cash Patel, former Trump aide turned political firebrand, was infamous for his inflammatory views on foreign policy. When is this debate? Traoré asked calmly. Tonight, 8 p.m. Washington time. We'll connect via satellite from Burkina Faso. The president smiled slightly. At 35, he had faced far greater challenges than a televised confrontation. I accept, but on one condition. I want 15 minutes to present our findings before the debate. The producer hesitated. Sir, that's not standard protocol. Then there is no debate, Ibrahim replied, unfazed. A moment of silence. Then, very well, your terms are accepted. After the call, Ibrahim turned to his aide, Moussa Cabaret. Get the latest reports ready. Let's show the world what Burkina Faso has really achieved. Moussa grinned. What are you planning, sir? A reality check no one will forget. Back in Washington, Cash Patel was confident. Reviewing charts in the Fox News studio, he told his assistant, "This young president thinks he can win hearts with phony stats. I'm going to expose him for what he is, just another dictator." Host Tucker Carlson glanced over the script. Cash, you sure about this? Traoré S., known for being sharp. Trust me, Tucker, I've got this. The palace prepares in Ouagadougou. The presidential palace buzzed with activity. Ministers, advisors, and technicians scrambled to set up the satellite feed. I want all indicators from the last 3 years, Traoré instructed his economy minister, Fatimata Sawadogo. GDP, unemployment, investment, infrastructure. Fatimata opened her laptop. Sir, the numbers are outstanding. GDP growth at 8.5% annually. Unemployment down from 32% to 11%. And over $4.2 billion in foreign investment. Dr. Ouedraogo, the foreign minister, added cautiously, President Cash Patel is confrontational. He'll try to provoke you. Let him try, Traoré replied. We have the truth on our side. Across the continent, messages poured in from African leaders. The president of Senegal said, Brother, all of Africa is with you tonight. Ghana's president added, Show them who we really are. Traoré remained composed. This isn't about conflict, it's about dignity. At 7 p.m. local time, he put on a navy suit, adjusted his mic, and took his place. Ready, Mr. President? Asked the technician. More than ready, he said. With a quiet confidence, the broadcast begins. 8 p.m. in Washington. Tucker Carlson opened the show. Good evening. Tonight, a special debate. Cash Patel versus President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. The question, does Africa really need American aid? The camera cut to Patel. Tucker, let's be honest. Billions in aid haven't changed anything. Corrupt regimes waste it all. Then the screen split. President Traoré appeared, poised and composed in his office. Thank you for the invitation, Tucker. Patel struck fast. Your country received $2.1 billion in aid over 5 years. Where are the results? Burkina Faso is still one of the poorest nations. Traoré smiled calmly. Mr. Patel, let's correct the record. We received $340 million in loans, not $2.1 billion, and we're repaying them on schedule. Patel blinked. Second, we are no longer among the poorest. In just 3 years, we've moved from 183rd to 156th in the UN Human Development Index. Tucker leaned forward. How did you do that? Through 3 pillars: education, health, and infrastructure. We've built 847 schools, 23 hospitals, and 1,500 kilometers of paved roads. Patel tried to interrupt. If I may finish, Traoré continued, unfazed. Burkina Faso now exports gold, cotton, and agricultural goods to 34 countries. We've had 18 straight months of positive trade balance. The Fox News studio fell silent. Patel had come prepared for outdated narratives. Traoré came armed with facts. Tucker turned to Patel. Your response. Patel, visibly unsettled, pivoted. You came to power through a military coup. How do you justify that? I expected that question, Traoré said. Yes, I assumed leadership in 2022 during a national crisis. Our president had lost 70% of our territory to terrorist groups. The economy had collapsed. Soldiers and civilians were dying. Patel opened his mouth, but Traoré pressed on. 3 months later, we held a referendum. 89% of our people voted to support my presidency. The vote was monitored by the African Union and the UN, Tucker asked. And the results? We've reclaimed 85% of our land. Terrorist attacks are down 73%. For the first time in years, our children can attend school safely. Running out of ground, Patel lashed out. You're only 35, and yet, Traoré replied with a steely gaze. Here I am. The moment everything turned, how much experience do you have to lead a country? Cash Patel asked, leaning in smugly. President Ibrahim Traoré smiled. Mr. Patel, how old were you when you became a White House aide? That's different. You were 34, Ibrahim interrupted, calmly. And you had never governed anything. At 35, I have already transformed a nation. The studio audience murmured in surprise. Cash Patel, a man known for dismantling his opponents with rhetoric, was now being surgically disarmed by the young African leader he had underestimated. There's something more important I want to share, Ibrahim added, his tone steady but charged with anticipation. Tucker Carlson leaned forward. I have a surprise for Mr. Patel. Cash frowned. What surprise? You'll find out in a few minutes. His calm, almost playful tone left the studio, and viewers alike hanging in suspense. The trap is set, Mr. Patel, Ibrahim continued. You've spent the last 2 years attacking American aid to Africa, haven't you? Yes, and I stand by it. It's a complete waste of taxpayer money, Cash replied, trying to reclaim the narrative. Interesting, Ibrahim said, his voice dipping into something colder, because we found something fascinating about your own companies. Tucker raised an eyebrow. Mr. President, what exactly are you referring to? Ibrahim gestured off camera. My team ran an investigation, Mr. Patel. You're a partner in 3 companies that received U.S. government contracts for projects in Africa. Correct. Cash's expression darkened. That's irrelevant, is it? Ibrahim chuckled. Patel Defense Consulting, Patel Strategic Solutions, and Patel International Holdings. all registered in Delaware, all awarded $47 million in Pentagon contracts for security services in Africa. Tucker turned sharply. Cash, is that true? I can explain. Oh, there's more, Ibrahim said, not missing a beat. None of these companies delivered on their contracts. Instead, the money was funneled into offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. The Fox News studio erupted behind the scenes. Producers whispered into earpieces. Someone dialed legal. The collapse of a narrative. Tucker scrambled to shift gears. President, how did you obtain this information? Simple, Ibrahim replied. When someone aggressively attacks Africa, we ask why. And now we know. Patel isn't worried about American money going to Africa. He's worried about getting caught stealing it. This is defamation. Cash burst out. I'll sue. Unshaken, Ibrahim held up a folder. I have 347 pages of documentation from the FBI, IRS, and Department of Justice, all public. You've been under investigation for 8 months. Silence. Viewers across America stared, stunned, as Cash Patel, who came to discredit a nation, was being exposed as a fraud, live on national television. That's why you attack Africa, Ibrahim said. Because you don't want Americans to know you stole money that was meant to help Africans. The evidence unfolds, Cash tried to argue, but Ibrahim was already flipping open the folder. Would you like specifics? He asked, looking directly into the camera. Contract DoD, $20,234,471. Patel Defense Consulting was awarded $12.3 million to train African forces. No training occurred. Funds were wired to a Zurich bank account within 48 hours. Cash stood up. I'm not going to sit here and sit down, Mr. Patel, Ibrahim said firmly. I'm not finished. Contract DoD, $20,235,589. Patel Strategic Solutions, $18.7 million for security equipment. No equipment ever existed. Funds disappeared into a phantom account in Luxembourg. The production team was in chaos. Lawyers were called. Tucker, a seasoned anchor, knew he was witnessing something historic. Cash, Tucker asked, do you deny these allegations? I need to speak to my lawyers. A reckoning. Ibrahim didn't gloat. His voice was steady, dignified. Mr. Patel, for 2 years you've slandered Africa. You've called us corrupt, incompetent, dependent. But tonight the world sees the truth. He leaned forward. You stole money that could have built hospitals, schools, roads, money that was meant to save lives. You profited from our poverty. Patel snapped. I won't take moral lectures from an African dictator. Ibrahim smiled. Dictator? Mr. Patel, I was elected. You have never been elected to anything. I build schools. You build secret bank accounts. So tell me, who is the dictator? Aftermath. The internet was already exploding. Hashtags like #Patel exposed and Traoré truth dominated social media within minutes. Tucker turned to the camera. President Traoré, what do you hope comes out of this? Ibrahim looked directly into the lens. I hope Americans understand that honesty and corruption are not defined by geography. There are honest Africans and dishonest Americans. Corruption has no nationality. Cash Patel stood up, ripped off his mic, and walked out live.